Welcome to another episode of Two Fat Guys Talking Flowers, where we're always going to give you the good, the bad, the ugly about flowers. I'm Fern here with Joelle. Ryan's in the house. We got Mike in the house. And our beautiful, amazing, wonderful, awesome guest is none other than María Engler from Patagonia Sun. How are you doing?
Doing well. Doing really well. Thank you.
How's everything going out there? You having spring right now, you said?
We're having spring. It's a beautiful day outside. Not too cold, not too hot. It's all you could wish for, actually.
We got a cold front that just came down, so we should be nice and chilly tonight.
That's
So
right.
anytime,
You'd be enjoying it here.
anytime in South Florida when it goes below 60 degrees, all the women pull out their Ugg boots and thick sweaters. You'd be amazed how much winter clothes they have here in Miami. It's crazy. I guess because we
That
get it
is
all,
pretty
it's all
crazy.
on sale here, right? It's all on sale all the time.
Well, I grew up in Seattle, so, for me, it's like we were in t-shirts and, 50-degree weather, so
Yeah, yeah.
total opposite.
At this time of the year, you can spot out the tourists because they're the ones in the flip flops and sandals, and when it's 60 degrees outside, and then the Miamians are in Ugg boots and sweaters. It's crazy. It's funny, actually.
Right. Well, in Seattle, you could always spot out the tourists because they were using umbrellas.
You guys just gave up, right? You're just like, well, it's gonna rain every day
Yeah,
anyways. Just prepare.
it's useless. Get wet.
So Mia, you are part owner or owner of Patagonia Sun?
Yeah, I'm part owner. I have a partner, Bernardita Montes, who's her father is the owner of Montes Wines in Chile, which is a really well-known winery. And he got into the peony business around 4 years ago. And I've been in the business since 2006, actually.
I've had some
And
of that wine. Now I'm thinking about it. I've definitely had some of Montes wine. Very
yeah,
nice.
yeah, it's world renowned, actually. And he's got he's doing cherries right now, what everybody's doing in Chile, which is cherries, peonies, blueberries. Um, and when he went into the peony business, he contacted me because I was uh, in Chile. There's very few exporters for flower business, for the peony business, and he didn't want to work with the main exporter. And he contacted me, and I said, I'm really doing only our own farms, and it's a lot of work, so I don't know. And he said, no, no, let's try. And I said, all right, well, let's try it this year. I won't promise anything, but things went well. And we had originally talked about his daughter helping me out, and she had decided actually that year to sort of take a sabbatical year. And when he came around, I said, well, I'm, we did really well, but I can't do this on my own. And we got together with Bernardita, with his daughter, excuse me. And the partnership has worked very, very well. Worked really well together. We get together every day. She lives in Santiago, 100 kilometers away from where I live.
She's
And
more
since the
south.
pandemic,
Is that more south?
she's more north.
More
She's in the
north.
capital.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And since
How
the
how
pandemic,
far
everything went.
how far from the capital are you? How far deep in I guess that's like the growing region down there in the south, right?
Well, 800 kilometers in Chile isn't that much because it's a really, really long country. But it's south. It's pretty much south. I would say that most of the area from here on down is very sparsely populated. Um, Smaller cities. We're about 100 kilometers north of Puerto Montt, which is the last big city within the whole range. And then you start getting into really small towns and stuff. Um, a lot of rugged terrain. Patagonia on the Chilean side is mostly mountains and ocean and islands in between and fjords and that kind of stuff.
I can't
So
wait to visit Chile. I have never been, and I'm looking
it's a
forward to
beautiful,
it.
beautiful country, and it's got everything you can think of. The very far north is supposedly the driest desert in the world. It's just beautiful, and you've got, desert, ocean, the Andes mountain range. Got a little bit of everything. And if you like wine, we have some wonderful wineries in the area where our partner has the Peonies.
I need to go there first. That
Ryan
trip.
said you need to ship him a case of wine.
Please do.
Yeah.
Please do.
Well, we'll organize a trip for you guys soon.
Okay, so before you started growing peonies, you did mention you grew up in Seattle. So let's go all the way back. Tell us a little bit about your history. Tell us how you got into flowers. And don't leave any details out.
All right. Well, I was born in Chile. My father was a doctor. And in the 1960s, the U.S. needed a lot of doctors. So they said, welcome. And we moved as a family. And I, grew up there, did high school, everything there. And when I finished high school, I moved back to Chile on my own, studied architecture, worked for a little while in architecture, then decided to go back to the States, got my master's degree from Berkeley, UC Berkeley.
Nice.
And after that, decided to move back to Chile, worked in architecture again for a while in Santiago, in the capital. And in 2000, I married a rancher from Osorno, which is where I now live. And about a couple years after we got married, he decided to plant peonies. We went around to Holland, we went around to the US, we visited clients, we visited growers, we studied the whole peony market. We had a lot of fun doing it also. And then in 2006, we had our first crop. We exported with our competition. And in 2008, we decided to try exporting on our own, which is something that hadn't really worked until we tried it. And my brother still lives in the US, and he started the company. The original Pilauco Peonies was the name. We started the company together, and many of the people we work with in the US still remember my brother because he's quite a character. Frank, and he did most of the prospecting, and the original, client base was set up by him. And then after about 2 years, we decided it was better to be brother and sister than business partners. So he moved on to something different, and I continued with the company. And actually, the way I got into the peonies, I had no intention of getting into the peonies. And my husband it was 2006, and he had some Dutch partners, which turned out to be not so kosher. And the truth is, they kind of left him alone. They said, "Oh, we got this huge project, and it's going to be really cool. And we're going to make a lot of money." And they, of course, sold us all the rhizomes and the whole thing. And then all of a sudden, when it was time to harvest, they split. And I looked at my husband, and I sort of said, "Don't worry, I'll help you." That's thinking famous last words.
That's it, and you haven't left since, huh?
That's right. That's how it got started. And then, and we got into it, and it's a fun business. We've had a lot of fun traveling together, studying, meeting people, learning about the whole business, and yeah, it's been fun throughout the years, and it became a family project basically. So it's been really cool.
That's awesome.
And now peonies, when you first start to grow those, you don't see any flowers for 3 years, right?
Yeah, it takes around 3 years to actually have your first harvest.
Damn.
And then each year you have a better harvest.
That's peonies everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it better? Is there better growing conditions, or do you guys think that is there a difference between where they're growing?
Yes, there is. There is. We have a farm in the area of Santiago, which is 800 kilometers north of here. And it's like the warmest that they'll tolerate, because peonies need cold. They need, I think it's at least 400 hours of below 7-degree cold or temperature in order to really thrive. And in our northernmost
They need
farm,
to winter.
Yeah, they need winter.
Yes, they need to winter. And in our northernmost farm, the quality is I'm not saying the quality isn't as good, but generally the stem length is a little shorter, and bud size is maybe slightly smaller. In some varieties, but mostly it's the stem length that's really noticeable.
Do you know when they started growing peonies in Chile? Do we know approximately when?
I would say around the year 2000 was when it sort of just really got started. We got into it in 2004, and there were not that many people doing it. Right now, it's absolutely crazy how many people are getting into the business. I mean, and Chile is famous for that. Many years ago, Angora wool was the big thing. And so everybody got into Angora wool. Of course, the price crashed. And Chile was full of rabbits all over the place.
Chile
It's absolutely
produces
crazy.
Chile produces a tremendous amount of produce. Fruits.
Yes, yes.
Apples, right? Cherries,
Cherries,
peaches.
blueberries. Yeah, yeah. We're mainly a country that exports. Produce, like you said, is one of our main exports, and then of course copper is what we call the salary of Chileans is copper.
Are they mining that in the mines? I mean, in the mountains.
Yeah, in the mountains.
The copper. That makes sense.
So many people planted peonies. That remember last year what happened? We didn't see the same problem this year as we saw last year. I don't know, really not sure why, but
what problem?
Their market was saturated.
Oversupply.
Was saturated. Well, at least it was here. I don't know about other
specifically
countries.
From Chile or from all the peonies?
Yes, from Chile.
Yeah.
Yes, from Chile.
Yeah. Well,
but this year we
thing
didn't
about
really have
peonies-
that. This year was good.
Real quick, when's the chili season? What months are the chili season?
October through the end of December. There's one little farm producing in the very, very southern tip of Chile in Magallanes, but their quality isn't that good either, just because it's so extreme. But they do come out like in January, first and second week of January. But the bulk of production is between like the first week of October and the last week of December.
So you're saying this year there wasn't an oversupply?
Not like last year, which is crazy because last year demand on flowers in general was far greater in peony season than it was this year.
Yeah, that's what I found, and I found that there was overproduction this year, and more so than last year. As far as how the market hit us as sellers, we sold more than we did last year. We did, in that sense, we did better, but we found that the market was always just constantly flooded. And the thing about Chilean peonies is, or anything coming from New Zealand or even South Africa has a few growers there. We have the off season, and peonies do not grow in greenhouses. And anything that grows in a greenhouse, Chile can't compete because we have really, really high transportation costs. I mean, Colombians and Ecuadorians can't believe what we pay to get our flowers from Chile to Miami or anywhere else in the world. It's just really, really expensive.
Is there a reason why that it's so expensive?
Chile's at the end of the world, kind of.
Long flight.
And
long flight.
It's a long flight. The population isn't that big. We're probably 17, 18 million Chileans and all. And the population that travels is, I don't know what percentage, but it's not but 18 million. And on the other hand, most of these cargo planes or even passenger planes, which is what we like to use, they bring cargo in and they take cargo out, and so they're full. Most of the planes that are coming to Chile don't bring air cargo. It's Chileans sending out cherries and blueberries and peonies, and actually my forwarder told me he was exporting llamas on planes. So anything you can think of, we're exporting.
You guys are kicking everything out of the country, huh?
gosh, it's
There's
just amazing.
Mia, there's a
And
company right next door to us. There's a company right next door to us that's their business is they expedite importing and exporting of live animals. So it's
yeah,
not uncommon for a truck of llamas to pull up next door,
yeah,
or
yeah,
Or pigs or
Pigs.
Screaming
horses.
pig truck that
Yeah.
pulled up while we were having our
Yeah.
Thanksgiving lunch outside.
Yeah, that was
We're all
great.
eating inside eating pork, and there's a truck full of screaming pigs right next door to us,
Yeah.
just screaming while we're eating.
no.
The guys right now, I think they're roasting a pig, and I was like,
Yikes.
where did that pig come from,
It
guys?
definitely came from
fell off the
it
back
was
of one of those
definitely-
trucks.
Yeah, but they have like the most expensive Arabian horses that come through. They have, it's a really interesting business what they have, and it's right next door to us.
Yeah.
It-
Yeah, and I bet you they move stuff all over the world. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, they have special containers for different animals to put them on the
Wow.
planes. Yeah, it's. I would say that's probably the nichiest business I've seen.
I didn't realize how expensive horses were.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah. They
And
have
they'll-
$1 million horses.
They'll
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Just
the
the horse
horses
itself.
sometimes they travel here just to do a studying,
Right,
right?
yeah.
With a female horse, and then they got to ship it back to its country. It's
Yeah.
amazing. Someone would import a horse for studs, and then send it right back out. That's crazy.
But
Yeah.
what Mia's saying is like, so I guess the cargo planes, because they're not importing a lot into Chile, the cargo
Right.
planes are flying in empty.
And leaving
Exactly.
full. The
So they
exact
have to pay the
opposite.
freight both ways, which is why it's so much more expensive.
Yeah.
And I don't think you have a whole
Exactly.
lot of freighters companies going, like is one or two, right?
Yeah, no, we don't. And the other problem with freighters is that, on passenger planes, they have a schedule and they have to meet that schedule so that we know that our flowers are going to be leaving every Monday, at 9:12 p.m. That's the regular passenger flight. And it has to leave at that time. And they have rules here in Chile where the local federal aviation, whatever, the local FAA, demands that any cargo be out on the tarmac 4 hours before the flight.
Wow.
And
Oh wow.
in Santiago, which is where the flowers, they all ship out from, it can be 40 degrees out on the tarmac, and they're spending, 4 hours out there. So
Celsius.
Celsius,
Yeah.
right?
yes, Celsius.
Yeah.
That's
That's
I don't
pretty
know how
damn
much
hot.
that is. It's
That's like
it's pretty
Miami
damn
hot.
Yeah.
That's Miami
Yeah,
hot.
and even more. I mean, it's
Yeah.
pretty bad. And then what happens with the cargo planes is they don't really have to leave on schedule. A lot of times, there's a truck coming from this area and it's late and it's got a ton of salmon that they want to get on that plane because it's a lot of money. And they go, oh, well, we'll wait for the salmon. And, there's the flowers sitting out there still waiting for the salmon to arrive. And so we really, really try to avoid cargo planes unless my forwarder tells me, this company's being really serious about their schedules and stuff. Like, we tried one this year, which worked out pretty well, but we've had pretty bad experiences with just cargo
I
planes.
could imagine. Leaving the beautiful peonies in that heat. It's definitely not fun for them.
No.
So, Mia, you are producing how many varieties now?
Well, we're bringing in some more in order to contribute to this flooding of peonies. So I think at this point we're between our farms we're producing over 60 varieties.
And
Wow.
do you also handle small growers product for them as well? Do they like an agent? Are you an agent for small growers that can't export on their own?
The way that I started out as Pilauco Peonies is my husband and I, we have a farm in the area of Santiago. It's a small farm, and then we have this main farm in Osorno. And then I had a partner who for some reason came to me and said, it'd be cool if you could export our peonies. And since they were in Coyhaique, which is maybe another 500, 600 kilometers south of here, not connected by any viable road system. And we started out just with that. It was just him and Coyhaique that I did his flowers, and then my own. And it worked that way for for over 10 years, for about 14 years. And then when Aurelio, the owner of Villa Montes, approached me that same year, another grower approached me and said, and I kept saying, no, 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 it's too much work, it's too much work. And then when I said, okay, for Villa Montes, I said, okay, look, let's see what happens. So I am working with two other growers that are not like owners of their farms, with Bernardita, and actually it's a subject we're thinking about, of what we're going to do there. You know, if we're going to continue along that road or just continue to do our own flowers with the original partners, and keep going with that. End of season right now, so we're kind of regrouping and rethinking and looking at the upcoming season, looking at the overproduction, seeing which way we can move, seeing which venues are open and interesting.
Do you do anything to
it's the work.
celebrate the end of the season?
Huh?
Do you do anything to celebrate the end of the season?
You know, we haven't. That's a good point. We should do some Montes Wine celebrations.
Yeah. Send us some. We'll celebrate with you. Don't worry. So how many hectares in both your farms do you guys have in production right now?
Between all of the farms, I think we're above 20 hectares
Oh wow.
and growing. Yeah.
I'm still surprised
growing
there's 60
because,
varieties. I didn't realize there was that many peony varieties.
I didn't realize.
Yeah, but a lot of those varieties are like quick. Like you'll get them like for 1 week and then you won't see them ever again. You know.
Yeah, you know, most varieties in peonies, you know, some come out before the others do, and most varieties actually last 2 weeks. So you can do a lot of overlapping with different colors and different varieties. It's kind of cool once you get into planning. And we did this for the Montes farm, is to, you know, try to plan ahead and think about the whole succession and at what time they come out compared to, for example, when my main farm comes out, which is a little bit later. And so, you know, thinking of them, we wanted to concentrate on early blooming varieties, trying to get some whites in there, which is what's really in demand at the beginning of the season, and you know, other early varieties, trying to see what we can do with that. It's kind of fun. It's sort of trying to get the right mix in so that we're competitive,
Ryan,
and don't have the same varieties that everybody else has, you know.
Ryan, isn't peonies the most Googled flower? Is that the?
It's one of them.
That's
It's definitely up there. It has. I mean,
Yeah.
100% is one of the top ones.
I think it is. I
Yeah.
think it's definitely the top flower. And, you know, I remember last year when we had the glut in the market, it was Coral Charms when they first started. Mike gets excited every year when he first sees the corals from Chile. And I remember last year, they just kept sitting. No, I'm good. No, I don't need any.
Yeah,
No,
I've
I don't
never
want-"
seen. Last year, I never saw a season
saw
where
it.
you couldn't sell your coral peonies, and we really couldn't. It was pretty weird. And this year, we sold pretty well the corals. But the season for corals went
Yeah.
a little faster this year, I think.
Yeah, I feel it did.
I feel like the corals came and went a little quicker. I don't know if the weather was different or what, but
Yeah, it may be, it depends on a lot of things. But coral, yeah, in general, you know, it's a 2 week cut. There are different coral varieties. I think pink Hawaiian is the first one out, and then the later ones are sunset. So, you know, it varies. And for us every year, it varies too. I mean, sometimes, for example, you felt that there was this huge overproduction last year. I felt that there was this huge overproduction this year. I was like,
well, we didn't see that in
yeah.
Miami. Maybe in other countries or
Maybe those are going farm
Or s-
direct.
yeah, I don't know if they all went somewhere else, but I really didn't see it in Miami this year like I did last year.
Well, and
Yeah.
that could attribute to what Mia felt, right? Last year, everybody in Miami had coral peonies in the beginning of the season from Chile. Everybody had them. But this year, there wasn't as many competitors with them. So maybe that's why you felt there was an oversupply, because people just weren't bringing them into the States as much,
yeah.
possibly.
You know, it's funny. I know a lot of people in different countries, and for different reasons. You know, I have some friends in Holland who they grow peonies, and we connect with a lot of people. And the Chilean export scene, let's say, is basically there's three relatively big exporters, which is my main competition, which I'm not gonna mention.
Yeah, we know.
And then there's another one, and then there's us. And the scene has always been kind of like that. The main exporter who does the big numbers, a second player, or should I say a third wheel, and us. And it's continued that way. The third wheel has been coming in and out, changing names, changing owners, but somehow is always in there. And then it's the big guy and Pilauco
But
Peonies
isn't
and
there
now
like
Patagonia.
those Dutch guys, the My Peony guys? Don't they have big farms in Chile as well?
They don't have any farms in Chile.
Oh, they're just
They're
contractors. They just contract grow.
yeah, they're just contractors.
Is that who brought
They're just
peony growing in Chile? Was it Dutch?
no, those guys came in much later.
Is
Much
Chile
later.
known for other flowers, or is it what other flowers is Chile known for?
No, it's not known for other flowers because of the price of freight. You
I'm so
can't compete
curious,
with any-
like why and how it got started. Then like
Because of the region. You could have peonies at
The
this
region.
time of year.
yeah, but why'd they pick peonies, not something else?
I think the Dutch are always involved in the flower. I mean, the Dutch are always the ones who
Dutch
are
have their
Dutch
hands
is-
in every country in every flower growing region. The Dutch have touched
That's
it.
right. And I think they figured out, I think it started in New Zealand, and they
Right.
figured out that Chile had just the right temperature and places and soil and that kind of stuff. And of course, their business is selling rhizomes. And so, we were like, okay, well, we'll buy into this business. But basically, our minds were telling us the Dutch are just making money off of the rhizomes, and they're still doing it. They're making a lot of money off of the rhizomes right now, which are the roots for the peonies. And it became a good business actually because there wasn't much competition. There weren't too many people involved, and if you think about the massive land, the physical mass that you can plant peonies on in this part of the hemisphere, it's not very large. It's just like the tip of Chile and Argentina, the little island of New Zealand, and they're doing something in South Africa in the very tip down below. But that hasn't worked out all that well because the South African climate isn't. It's like the north of Chile. They have a really short growing season, and the quality isn't as good as when you have all the cold that we have here. The southern tip is right next to Antarctica, so we've got a little bit of cold.
You forget, they don't teach geography anymore. You forget how far south Chile really goes. That's crazy.
It's the opposite of what we have.
Yeah.
So our winter is their summer. It's complete opposite of what we have.
Exactly.
So now in a few weeks
Yeah.
starts the Israeli peony season. Like
Correct.
it goes in and out
Yeah.
and just keeps coming
Yeah.
around. But there's almost peonies available all year round now.
Almost.
Pretty much.
New technology, all the storage that all the growers have been able to do, they've almost bridged all those gaps.
Do you get to see those
Yeah.
other peonies from other places, like the Alaska ones? Do you get to see any of them?
I was in Miami the year before the pandemic, I think, and I saw a peony from Israel, and I had to ask if it was actually a peony, because
So
I mean that's
what I've learned is
I'm
the
sorry, but-
Israeli peonies, the really, really best of the best, goes to the Netherlands. It doesn't come to the U.S. The really best of the best
nah,
goes to the auction.
yeah,
And
Yeah.
now we have the Moroccan peonies on the scene, which also
Mhm.
are coming into season very soon. Those
Are those
Yeah.
literally grown in Morocco?
Morocco,
Mhm,
yeah, yeah. But the transportation kind of sucks from there. So,
yeah,
it's hit and miss.
Yeah, and-
I've heard different reviews on them. But look, when you can't get anything and you have Moroccan corals, I mean, it is what it is. People will buy it.
That bride has to have
People will
those
buy it.
peonies in their bridal bouquet or in their wedding, and it's got to happen no matter what.
yeah. Yeah, well, peony is the bridal flower by excellence. So
Yep. It's the
you
go-to.
got to have them. It's good luck, you know. If you don't have them, how do you get married without peonies? You can start out with you can't do that.
Mia, do you pack all your peonies in one central location, or do you have packing houses at each farm?
We have packing houses at each farm.
And then
Yeah.
then you have it consolidated to go to the airport, or each
Yeah.
farm ships their own truck to the airport?
We have a truck that starts at my farm in Osorno, and it travels all night. They pick the flowers up first here. It travels all night, picks up along the different. Chile is a very long, narrow country, and there's one main highway, and it's a really good. It's a freeway actually. And so the truck just starts here, travels all night, picks up from the different farms. They somehow get themselves too close to the freeway, which is not too difficult in this country. Sometimes it's like half an hour to the coast and half an hour to the mountains. But that truck is the one that does all of the I can call it paperwork, I guess. But they go through USDA. We do USDA in Chile, which is a really, really good thing. And after USDA, they go through the Chilean Agriculture Department, Customs, and all of that goes in one truck. It's all consolidated.
And this year you have sales assistants.
Yes,
You used to do all that yourself.
I used to do all that myself. Yes, I was going crazy.
The growing, the selling. Did you drive the truck to Mia?
Everything.
Tell us the truth.
I was the coffee girl. Everything. I literally worked alone for many, many years. And I was
Wow.
really, really going crazy because it was just, I was doing the invoicing. I mean, before Comet, I was doing the invoicing by hand on QuickBooks.
Yep.
So,
Oh, man.
That's right.
yeah.
How has
no, it
Comet
was-
helped your business? How?
Oh, it's. I can't see my business without it right now.
Yeah,
I mean,
me either. I agree
Yeah.
with you. Me either.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the distribution, the invoicing, everything. You would need so many people to actually keep track of things and not lose track of things without Comet, I think would be impossible.
Sure. Yeah, it makes it convenient.
Definitely is convenient and keeps us organized.
Yeah.
This episode brought to you.
Yeah.
But don't tell them that. I'm arguing with them right now. I told them we might have to make a change if they can't fix this penny.
They know you
tobacco.
can't go anywhere.
Like you guys
It's
do
a new
what
monopoly.
you guys do what you got to do, but I can't say that
Yeah.
we can't make a change.
It's like telling FPL, the electric company,
Yeah.
that if you don't lower my bill, I'm gonna change.
I'm going back to torches and lights and fires.
Our electric bill came
Maybe
in.
some solar panels.
Mia, our electric bill came in a few months ago about $1,000 higher than normal. And I was like,
Wow.
what's going on? And I called up and I was like, we didn't use more power. What's going on? And the answer was pretty simple. The state approved an increase for 4 years. And that's it. There's an increase for 4 years. The state approved it.
There's only one
No.
power company. There's
Yeah.
no options.
Nobody
There's nothing
had
anybody
any
else.
say in it. There was no debate, no argument, no nothing. Just some politician signed a piece of paper and says, "Okay, you're approved." And now,
Yeah.
we all get
I'm
to
sure
pay.
you guys feel the same way about Comet. I feel that way. I mean, it's great, but it's like,
I believe they've
Okay.
become the staple of the flower industry. I really
Yeah.
do. I believe that
Yes.
that it's. There was a time where people didn't want to buy online because they wanted to call and haggle.
yeah.
And now that's not the case anymore. They just have no time and they jump from company to company picking out what they want. And that's it. That's it. I think the new thing is really rebate structures with companies and I would say rebate would be the right word. A lot of especially wholesale chains and larger companies are now demanding some sort of a rebate structure. And that's why there's no haggling when they buy on
No
Comet.
more haggling.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can't
Well,
have it
the
both
world
ways.
has changed in these past, I mean, since I started.
Yeah.
I when we started with my brother, he would send our handler in Miami, he would send them an Excel with what we were sending, and he would kind of erase the boxes as they got sold on his Excel. And so what we had in Miami didn't often match with what we thought we had.
Oh yeah, I remember those days.
Too many,
Yeah.
too little. We accidentally erased this line of 100
order-
boxes.
You order 40 boxes and the truck either shows up with 20 or 60. You know, you never knew.
That's what was available. Sorry.
You never knew it was gonna come in.
Oh man.
Yeah,
So you
and the transition has been, I have a lot of friends in the flower industry, and I'm not going to say I lost some, but some of them retired because they simply, it got to the point where they just weren't able to transition from the person to person, let's do it this way thing to comment where, everything was just flying and you really had to get into the internet. And
We're up
the
to
flower
about
industry has changed tremendously.
absolutely. I was gonna say we're up to around 20% of our orders are coming through Comet without any phone interaction or anything. They're
That's a lot.
yeah, it's a huge
it
amount.
could even be a little more with
Huge
all
amount.
the API connections that don't really calculate into that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's amazing how much is done without
Yeah.
a phone call anymore.
So you take that 20%, you figure out how much of your sales staff time becomes available because those customers are buying, and they buy 24 hours a day. Day and night. You wake up in the morning and there's a bunch of orders there.
Yeah.
I had to turn off for the new email setup. I had to turn off the chime because the phone was going off at 1, 2, 3, 4 in the morning. I'm like, what are these people doing buying at this time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you wake up in the middle of the night and says, "Oh shit, I forgot to order something."
literally the middle of the night.
I was driving with Jimmy the Tulip on the way to pick up the Shake Shack during the Christmas party, and he had his phone connected to the car as he was driving us there. He was literally getting text messages from customers at 9 o'clock during the Christmas party, and he was responding to some of them. But
Do they know about Jimmy the Tulip in Chile? Is he like no?
Oh, you guys are missing the
He's
boat.
super
maybe
famous
it's a good
here.
thing. Once you have him there, then you can't get rid of him. He pops up everywhere.
He's
I'll have
It's a
to
virus.
find out what that's about.
he's constantly connected to his customers. I believe it was last year or the year before he was named the Florida State Wholesaler of the Year.
Salesperson.
Wow.
Salesperson of the year.
Of the year. He's
Wow.
constantly connected. And I was watching him actually today at his desk. He's got this. He doesn't have a massive desk. His desk is kind of small. But he's got every app, every way that you could possibly communicate with a customer,
Wow.
including these cool earphones that he's got in his ear. So he has his headset for the company phone in one ear, and then he's got this other earphone for his cell phone in another ear.
And he's got his tablet out, and he's got his computer.
And he's got
and
all these
everything.
apps going. I mean, it's like mission control. It's
Wow.
yeah.
He's gonna go crazy pretty soon.
You would think
that's
that
he
he's
loves it.
hacking NASA with
Nah,
everything
the
that he's
man loves
working
it.
with.
The man's passionate about his job and his business and all about his customers. And we're
Yeah.
very proud of him. We really are. And you're my favorite peony supplier.
You're my favorite. You've known that, for so many years.
I just thought I'd tell you that.
Well, I mean, you did kind of break into a market when there was really only one exporter at the time. Everybody had no choice. If you grew a flower, you sent it here. That's what you did. And you really blazed your own path. And there's been a couple other have been trying to follow you on what you did and avoiding the major exporter out there.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
been some
and I-
small guys running around Miami.
With their
Offering-
U-Haul truck.
Oh, yeah, it's not really the same.
Well, the ones that are trying to get it now, I mean, I've got all these years of experience
Yeah.
of making a whole bunch of mistakes, of growing with the with the riding the wave, let's say, because it's been changing so long. And yeah, and I think even though we've switched to this e-commerce where you're doing 20% or maybe a little more, there's still that 80% that's really important to have one favorite, you know?
Exactly.
So as the country, you know, has grown, has expanded into the growing regions, and there's more people growing peonies, what are the challenges you're facing right now?
I think the biggest challenge is overproduction.
Yep.
When are
And
we
that
gonna see
causes-
that flush of that overproduction? When does that come?
It's not exclusive to peonies though. That's the problem.
No.
It's not. It's,
No, the
it's
problem is a Chilean mentality problem.
not only
it's like, you
Chilean.
know,
No, it's a flower growing problem, and I
Yeah.
think it's getting to be global. There's not
Yeah.
enough buyers for the amount of production that's out there, and there aren't enough supermarkets anymore. Because years ago, like there was a lot more supermarket buyers that you could sell to. Now they've gobbled each other up. So
Yeah.
there's a lot less
So
supermarket
the same
customers.
buyer is just
Same
buying
amount
from
of
more
stores. Yeah. So that guy's got his people.
Yeah.
So it makes it, you know,
Right.
it's not so simple anymore. It used to be able, you used to be able to make a deal with different people, and now suddenly those 4 people you used to sell to, one company bought them all out.
And you got one buyer. You
Yeah.
don't have 4 buyers anymore.
Yeah.
That makes a big difference.
Yeah.
So overproduction.
Yeah, it's global over.
And you know, for us here, that brings a whole chain of other problems. Is how do we get our flowers onto limited cargo space on the airplanes? You know, who's gonna
Who's
get the
gonna
cargo
get
space?
that
So
space?
Is sea shipping,
who's
is
gonna
sea
pay more
container
in the end?
shipping,
Who's gonna pay more? That kind of stuff.
is shipping by sea becoming more of an option for peony exporters?
It is. There's a big grower here in this area. You know, Chile's a small country, and we all pretty much know each other.
Everybody knows
Um,
everybody's business. Yeah.
Yeah,
No secrets.
we know what everybody's
The
doing.
chisme.
I can tell you who from my peony came over right before the season and tried to convince a whole bunch of little growers in the area of Curicó to
Yeah.
export with them, and you know.
No secrets in Chile,
there's a-
guys.
There's a new guy in my peony. I haven't met him yet.
Too funny.
And so, anyways, this other grower, he is doing everything by sea, and he's basically he's partnered with a Dutch company.
Yeah.
And yeah, that Dutch company is basically the mostly owner of the whole business, and he's doing everything by sea. You know, it's an option, of course. That comes up to the fact that they end up being stored flowers. We're going to, as a company, we're going to find out. We're going to be investigating on, you know, that because we are foreseeing an overproduction. So we're going to be investigating that. For now, we've tried to stay fresh because obviously, we want the higher end market, and fresh is.
Well, I know they've been
uh,
shipping sea from New Zealand for a long time to Holland,
Yeah.
and that's how they
And
always
the
have
Dutch
their.
keep the flowers forever.
Yeah, they
I mean,
haven't
I-
figured out somehow. Yeah.
Yeah. So
know
you know,
they're-
as a company also we're thinking about if we can pull some Dutch guy's tooth out, because they're like, you know, they don't want to give their secrets out. But we've got some leverage in there, so yeah, our next trip is as a company with my partner is probably to Holland to kind of study that part of it.
Don't get on Mia's bad side.
She's choke you.
No, don't.
I've seen that they use, some people use those big gray storage bins that are supposed to get the temperature down to like right at freezing, but with no humidity, no nothing.
Now they suck all the oxygen
Yeah.
out. They suck all the oxygen out, put them in suspended animation, and it's like one of those like just add water situations. Like you put them in water and then they revive suddenly.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
But the vase life is shorter.
yeah.
almost
shorter,
always.
and
Almost always,
yeah,
you could tell
yeah,
if it was
it is
shipped.
shorter. I
Yeah.
mean, we've done experiments here and with our packing facility, and I've had flowers until, that I've maybe red charms that I've cut at the end of October, and I put them out for Christmas, and yeah, they bloom and they next day they pop. Gone. Uh, but yeah, when you buy the bud, the bud looks perfect. So yeah, I think it's a whole subject, and it would be really cool if we could actually manage it well with good quality, and we're looking into it. Yeah, yeah, we have a lot of work this year.
So
We don't stop it.
I thought it would be really cool on the podcast because nobody calls peonies the varieties by the correct way that you pronounce it. Do you know all the correct pronunciations of the names?
Yeah,
I
So-
bet you.
I would say most.
So then you have to have you
like
or
it's
Fern
not
say
Duchess White. It's not
Okay,
Duchess.
so you have to say it, and then she'll give you the correct way to say it.
Right.
But you have to say it so she
Right.
knows which one you're referring to, and we need to know
So
what do you mean by.
Duchess should be Duchesse.
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 So this,
Yeah.
is this is your peony
That is
pop
the-
quiz.
So we got this new puppy. Me and Mommy got this new puppy. We rescued him, and his name is Sid. And one of the cool things what made me kind of like interested in Sid is that the rescue had described him as half Labradoodle and half Belgian Malinois, right? So I thought that was a cool combination. And we were at the dog
Yeah.
park the other day, and we saw a Belgian Malinois running around in the park. And me and my wife kind of went near the owner, and we asked, is that a Belgian Malinois? And the lady looked at my wife. She goes, "It's a Malinois." So,
What do you do at that point? You're like, "All right,
okay,
lady, my
All right,
bad.
Sorry.
Glad I asked.
My bad, lady.
Sorry. So when someone
No, that's
asks,
why
so-
when I sell the peonies, I sell Duchess.
yeah, but do you have any Duché?
So name some other ones.
I don't know, Cloud.
Madame Cloud.
Plantain.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some there's
Well-
a Boule de Neige. The French names are they're harder to
Yeah.
pronounce. And,
They're
the
hard to
funny thing is
remember.
you should. Yeah,
Is there a
you-
reason
you
why they're
should
named
use it-
after? What were you saying?
Yeah, well, a lot of them are, have weird, but the funny thing is here at the packing facility and also at my partner's place with her people that she works with, a lot of times they'll send me pictures to see if the cutting stage is correct and stuff. And the names they come up with, because they're Spanish speaking and most of them have, whatever high school education. They're like, Edith and I are like, okay, fine, that'll work.
So
Yeah, it's like-
Festiva is what? Festiva Maxima is
Yeah, that's fine, Festiva.
that's the
yeah.
same.
You just have a problem with the French words.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. A lot of them are named in English,
Yeah, but the ones
What about
that,
like Mons Jules Ellie?
Well, in French it would be Monsieur Julie.
see,
But,
but my opinion
This
is
is why the French hate us.
my opinion is Amans Juzali sounds more expensive.
No, the way she said it sounds
The
way
way-
more
yeah,
expensive.
That's
the way
what I'm
she
saying.
said
Okay,
it
yeah,
sounds
yeah,
way
yeah.
It sounds
yeah,
more
yeah.
expensive. Like
Right.
I think we can get a better price for the peonies. If
Right. That's probably why they're named after French for the fragrance, right? Is that maybe where the name
the
comes
breeders are French, right?
the breeders are French.
Yeah.
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 And they generally, these are names of people, and they are like important people in the breeder's life. So
names of
they're
people.
usually in honor of someone. Like I
Dr.
was,
Alex Fleming.
yeah, yeah. For some reason, I got into trying to find out because the whole name of the Duchess is Duchesse de Nemours, and so of course at this stage in life I can't remember the whole story and why it was named after the Duchesse de Nemours, but there was a Duchess of Nemours who actually existed, and the flower was named after her. So
Dr. Alexander Fleming is a Scottish physician and microbiologist best known for discovering the world's first broadly effective antibiotic substance, which he named penicillin.
So he got
There you go.
There you go.
So that's why
he got his own
that's why
peony.
he got one.
There you go.
I like
You
that.
got
guy.
a peony named after him. That's pretty cool. So I guess it's an honor to have a peony named after you.
So who's Docious?
Who's Kansas then? Who's Kansas?
Kansas was named after Dorothy from the Wizard
No, it
of
was
Oz.
not.
Isn't it?
It'll be fun.
Mike's
try to
making
make
up his own histories over here.
I know.
Yeah,
I'm having fun with that, thinking that'd be really cool.
Casey
I'm
actually.
some Instagram shots with the real history of the name of this peony. Think of some really good ones.
Casey actually plays a game with one of our customers. He'll tell Olga a name, and these names sometimes, they're unique names, and he won't write it down for her. And then, when they get to our customer has fun trying to figure out what bunches belong to what party based upon the name if you turned it around and said it in Spanish. It's a whole game that they play.
Well, I have some pretty fun Spanish versions of some of the varieties.
Like what?
El Pecher, which is I've heard it pronounced in
Peacher.
different
That we
ways.
call it Peacher here.
Peacher, yeah.
Petcher,
Well,
Peacher,
the
Petcher.
people here on my farm call it Piche.
This reminds me of actually, I forgot to ask this question last week. Why, when we were talking about Lane, was it Iris, but it's Elex for the Elex, but Iris for the Iris? Why is it not Iris or Ilex? Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
There's
Elex.
What
Why
did
is
you
it not?
say?
Why is it not Elex? Why is it not
Ilex.
Ilex, not Elex?
When
It is
Iris.
Question.
But then why is
Why
Iris
is it then
Iris?
exactly.
Not
It's
Iris.
like
Iris,
consistent.
not
You're
Not
absolutely
Iris.
Right, exactly.
Because it has an IL instead of an IR.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn
Could be.
English language.
I learned that in Harvard.
Harvard was the name of his elementary school.
I did.
Cool.
I did.
Peacher. Pecher.
Peacher.
Pecher.
Well, it's Piche, but they spelled it because they made these little signs and they spelled it Pichey.
So customers think that it's supposed to be peach.
Yeah, every time
They
get
think
upset.
it's supposed to be peach. Well, these aren't peach.
I didn't say it was peach.
It says peacher. It's supposed to be peach. Yeah, that's happened.
Yeah.
When I first
Actually,
started
I have
selling
no
them, I
idea
thought
what
it was
that word
peach
is.
as well.
My first experience with peonies was I grew up in the flower market in New York City, and the only place that you would ever get peonies from was from local growers. And when peony season started, it was like a big deal in the market. It was a big deal. I mean, and the prices were high, like $2 a flower. It was, they were high, but the quality was just so amazing. The long stems, heavy bunches, big giant heads, kind of like how when Dutch season is rolling, outdoor Dutch season is rolling. That's what you see, those big giant heads with the big. So anyway, we used to have the peonies open and there would be a million ants inside
Yeah.
the head. What's up with
Yeah.
that? I've always wondered why that happens.
As soon as the bud matures and before you cut it, actually one of the ways to know that it's mature is when you see the sugar kind of going up on the bud.
Mm-hmm.
And so the ants absolutely love to come up and eat the sugar that forms around the bud that's forming.
And the way to get rid of that sugar is to dunk them in warm water, right?
Yeah.
Which is our
Yeah.
dunking
Our
video.
dunking video, like how
Yeah.
you dunk your Oreos.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
It's
gotta dunk your
three
peonies.
dunks in lukewarm water. 3 dunks, and then your
And a
sugar is
swirl,
off.
and then a little swirl.
And then your
Yeah.
peony will open.
Yeah.
So is
Yeah,
that,
if the sugar dries really hard around the peony, it'll make it hard for it to open.
but no, I used to bring peonies home and they'd be like tight and fresh. But as they would open, suddenly there would be a lot of ants. Like they somehow get inside early. Like there's
Yeah.
no door for them to come in and out. Like they're nesting or living inside of that flower. But I haven't not
Wow.
seen that ever from Chile. I've
Somebody
never
once
seen that.
asked me about the flower business and herbicides and pesticides. when you want to think about it.
Yeah.
Totally politically incorrect. I mean, rated R.
Mm.
Like a show.
Wow.
Especially when we have this problem of, having to face 40 degrees Celsius at the airport. You just really, really have to fight against botrytis, especially that kind of
That
stuff.
must explain why sometimes, not every time, but sometimes you'll get a shipment that has a lot of burned foliage. It
Yeah.
must be those boxes that were on the top of the jet pallet
Yeah.
getting a good dose of that sun. We have that problem here in Miami too. It's not uncommon for us to get a jet pallet of hydrangea, let's say, which have a lot of humidity inside the box. And we'll buy, 300, 400 boxes, and we'll ship them out, and then we'll get some claims on like 8 random boxes. And then we like burned, completely burned. And you wonder where that happened. It's for sure it happened on the offload or on the onload of the plane if it was sitting in the sun, because that sun is brutal.
Well, and they don't play here. If that bell rings, no matter what people are doing, they just stop.
Yeah, but it could happen in Colombia too. It could anywhere where the sun is beating. If that jet pilot sits out there
I don't know if it's like a worldwide thing, but I do know that here the flowers have to be out 4 hours before the flight, and that's just brutal.
That's crazy. That's abusive.
Yeah.
Almost.
No, I don't think that's a worldwide thing, but it's not uncommon. Like when I fly out of Ecuador, or fly out of Quito, many times, especially around the holidays when there's a lot of volume, there will be, they have the jet pilots around like these wagons, I guess, and they're like all tied together one after the other. It wouldn't be uncommon to see like 20 or 30 of those sitting next to the plane waiting to get loaded. I don't know how long they're there, but
and we
it's
normally fly out first thing in the morning, so imagine,
you never
when it gets
know on
hotter.
the holidays when you're going to fly.
Yeah.
You never know. Day, night, rain sometimes. That's why the boxes come in wet sometimes, because it was raining suddenly while they load the plane.
We went down to visit our partner in Coyhaique, and he has to fly his flowers out of Coyhaique. Either while I'm still operating, he flies them over to an airport nearby, and I pick them up in a refrigerated truck. And otherwise, he just flies them directly to Santiago. So his costs are pretty high. Just getting the flowers to Santiago. Then you have to hire a refrigerated truck to do the whole thing at the airport, which can sometimes take, at the time he comes out, which is the holidays, it can take all day. I mean, I've had the truck company call me and say at 7 p.m, he's still there. And I'm like, we're trying, but the backup is just huge. The logistics is a lot of fun.
So is he there at those times with like waiting to unload?
No. He basically gets a refrigerated truck that he's about an hour away from the local airport. And actually, I forgot what I was going to tell you, but the story is that my husband and I went down to visit him and to check out what was going on and stuff. And we're getting back on the plane to fly back here, and we see them loading up his flowers, so with our brand, of course, and everything. And so the guys are sitting there chucking the things up on top of the plane, just physically up to the open door. And one of the boxes kind of bounces and falls all the way back down. And how high those planes are. I mean, they're not even doing it like on a conveyor belt or anything. They're just throwing them up there. And the thing bounces back down, we're kind of going, oh my God.
That stuff's not,
really
those are flowers. Stop it.
That is not uncommon here either. These guys who load the .com boxes for the overnight carriers. I won't mention their name, but
they're just tossing
I've seen
those
all
things.
kinds of crazy stuff. How they handle that, as if they were shipping car tires. Is it's pretty crazy, and it's so easy. Like when you see people loading trucks or unloading trucks, the forklift driver hits the door above, and then the few boxes fly off the forklift and get smashed. This is part of the deal.
Yeah.
It's part of the deal. Yeah. The flower business is tough, man. And everything gets blamed down the chain.
Yeah.
regardless of where it
It's-
originated from, you know?
Yeah. It's just a lot of things can go wrong.
Yeah.
And one of the things that's happened in this country is we just have a brand new, expanded, beautiful, modern airport for people. And the whole cargo area is the same as it was in 2006 when we started.
Oh my
And
God.
it's
Which is
totally,
crazy if especially such big exporters as a country.
exactly. I mean, this country it gets its money from exports, And so I was talking to my forwarder when he told me that the expansion was going through and they were building this beautiful new airport and the whole thing. And he said, but they're not going to do anything to the cargo area. And I thought, but that's crazy. I mean, we're already suffering, and 10 years down the line, it's just going to be even worse, And he said, yeah, well, the voters don't pass through the cargo area.
Yeah. Wait,
Yeah,
in
unfortunately.
Miami International is a big cargo airport. And the cargo,
Yeah.
most of the cargo facilities that the flower people use, produce people, fish people, all that is like from the 70s. It's like really old. It's
Wow.
not laid out very well.
I guess because the cargo never really stops. There's no real like slowdown. It's
No,
always
like
consistent.
UPS has like a modern cargo facility. Like it's different. Like the old, like if you go down here, the 700 buildings, all these buildings, we're like one block away from all these cargo buildings, and they're old, man. They're old and they're not efficient, and most of them are not completely temperature controlled, and it doesn't make it easy for them.
It's no fun.
For it to push through.
Yeah. Well, the holding area, what we try to do, especially what goes to the States, is we try to get it in the refrigerated truck through USDA very early in the morning, then through ag, and it has to be given to the airline by, I think the cutoff is around 3:30 in the afternoon. And all that time, the flowers are in the refrigerated truck. Once we give it to the airline, it goes into one of two. There's only two warehouses that supposedly have cooling, and they're supposed to be around 5 degrees. But the truth is, they have all these doors that go out to the tarmac,
Right.
and they're open and closing them all the time because they're coming in with cargo coming out. So I think those warehouses are, with luck, that they're around 15 degrees Celsius, which is, we like to keep our flowers at 1 degree Celsius.
Yeah.
So the shorter the time, but then, you're talking about the 4 hours out on the tarmac. We have to be really, really careful about what we ship because the trip is pretty brutal on the peonies.
That's crazy on such a sensitive and such a, an eventful flower. People really do get mad when they open a box of peonies and they're bad and they blame you for ruining their life. But the truth is there's so much out of your control, and you've delivered a great product that should hold up, should last. But I mean, look at everything it has to go through just to get into the Americas.
Years ago, they used to export with little ice packs in the boxes. Remember?
It doesn't help any. They last an hour or two.
Yeah.
And it's just, for me, it's just more environmental waste,
Yeah.
because it really, really doesn't help.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, I had not last year, or maybe was it last year? We got offloaded off of our reservation. It was around Christmas, and no, they'll go tomorrow. And I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, oh no. And then the next day it's like, no, we don't have space again. And the airlines do what they want. If they've got salmon is much more convenient for them price wise. So they'll, load the salmon on and load the flowers off. Anyways, it actually took 2 days to get them out. They were supposed to fly out on Monday night. They flew out Wednesday night. And by the time they got there, I had the handler take the temperature and stuff, and over 50% of the shipment was unusable.
Yeah.
That
That happens in other places.
Suffered.
That happens in other places. We had that happen last week with Southwest Airlines. They left thousands of people behind. So
just stranded everywhere across the country.
Hey, sorry.
People were angry. People were so angry on social media. It was wild.
Yeah. we have.
And I'm sure the airlines feel the same way we do. We did everything right. It's like it's this other thing that happened.
The problem with that is that everyone attacks the poor people at the gate or something like that. And they have no control. They have no control over anything that goes on, or what's your next flight, or how you get on another plane, or why something got canceled. But man, those people
end up on like a no-fly list for years, right? The ones
people
that throw a TV monitor or a trash can.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I would purposely never get that mad. I fly too much. I mean, it's stupid.
I was stuck in Syracuse airport for like 8 or 9 hours.
Yeah, I remember that.
I was stuck. I was stuck in Italy in the airport for over 10 hours. Then they bust us to a shit hotel to stay overnight, and then bust us back to wait another 6 hours in the airport in the morning to then fly back.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Oh, man.
Mia, did you know there was like a big thing here in the U.S. of all these micro farms in different states?
No.
Yeah, there's lots of micro farms popping up around the United States. Many are growing peonies, and other field crops. Either to sell to wholesalers or their local retailers. Some of them do farmers markets or just have like a roadside stand to sell their flowers. So it's a really big thing now.
Those would take 3 years to grow as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, no matter
That's
what.
crazy for them.
3 years just to get started.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Just to see production.
So in 10 years, you get a lot more flowers than you did on the third year.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Just for a micro farmer to commit
peonies,
for 3 years of investment.
You buy your first 10 rhizomes, just to throw out a figure, and 5 years down the line, you can actually divide that and have 20 rhizomes, and you can divide that and have 40 rhizomes if you want. So, yeah, it can just keep going. Yeah, now that you mention that, I have a friend who does that in Canada, and she posts peonies, tulips. She has a little bit of everything. Yeah.
Is there Canadian peonies?
Yeah.
Is there
Yes.
a big market for that?
Yeah, sure.
Do we get those?
Yes, we do.
We do. We get them in
We do.
a
Actually,
great
we're at
time
Sun
in the
Valley.
summer.
We were just at Sun Valley. He has a field of peonies that he planted in recent years. And Scott from Pioneer, they produce.
I talked to Scott. He says the majority of what he sells stays in Canada. They sell
Yeah,
a
they're
ton over there.
supermarkets, 3 stem bunches.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't export much of it. But yeah, there's lots of peonies being grown in Canada.
But he had those at the Flori Expo, the old IFE show.
Yep.
And those were the first things. He walked away from his booth, and I grabbed a bunch, and I kid you not, like when I grabbed that one bunch of flowers, it's like the noise stopped in the whole show, and everybody was watching me. And then one lady goes, "Are those good to take?" And I go, "Yeah." He said bye to me. He said he's done for the day. And it was like a swarm of people ran to the peonies to grab every bunch of peonies.
It's everyone's favorite.
Yep.
It's everyone's favorite.
It is. And it's for a reason. They're just beautiful flowers. They're big, they last, whatever.
They're showy, they're
Yeah.
Is it your favorite flower, or do you see it too often?
Are you over it?
I have mixed feelings.
There you go. That's what I figured.
You're married to the peonies.
She likes the wine. She's
am.
married to the peonies,
Married
but
to
she
the
likes the
peonies.
wine.
No, they grow other things besides flowers. They're
So you guys are
Yeah,
growing
we-
others? What are you growing?
Well, we up until about 2 years ago, we still have kiwi fruit. And we were doing blueberries and cattle mostly. And then 2 years ago, my husband just decided the cattle business is a really complicated business. It's very in many ways, the agriculture department has a lot of controls. You really have to sort of invest a lot of time and work into it. It was free range. So, it's not like you could herd everything in and then count and this and that.
I watch
it was,
Yellowstone, so I know a lot about the cattle business.
I almost feel like a
Good.
rancher sometimes.
Yeah.
Is how much I watch that show.
Yeah. It's a cool business, but it's a tight business. You have to run it really, really well, and it's a lot of work. So he got out of the cattle business 2 years ago, and he's been doing mostly grains. We've expanded the peony fields a little bit in that area. So yeah, and we've still got the kiwis, but my husband is the one who has the green thumb, I guess.
So
I do the exporting. I always tell people,
of all the products, which one's your favorite to export?
well, I only export the peonies. The other stuff he does with and beef. Chile doesn't produce enough beef for our population, so we import a lot from Argentina and Brazil.
No kidding.
Oh yeah, that's where to get it from.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, Argentinians are famous, but of course our beef is much better.
Are there peonies grown in Argentina? Do you know?
Yes, it's one of the things that's popping up now. Is Argentina is also getting into the peony business, and I know that my competition is bringing into the U.S. peonies from Argentina.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
So is this
They have not come across our
growing
desk
time?
yet.
Same growing time?
Same growing time, yes.
We might not know. We might
I have not.
Yeah.
They have not appeared on our radar yet. We have not seen
Yeah.
them.
Well, I think that I'm sure I've seen the boxes and they're marked from Argentina and from a buyer in the U.S. And I know that they are growing. They have just slightly harder logistics problems, and I'm not sure.
I'd imagine.
Yeah. And I'm not sure if they're bringing them in through Chile and then to the United States, because the exporter is from Chile. He's the one that used to be a monopoly.
How long is that flight from Chile to Miami?
From Chile to Miami is it's an 8-hour flight.
Oh, 8 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need a gummy to get through that. That's a long flight.
Yeah, from Chile to Los Angeles, it's a 14-hour flight if you can grab the one flight a week that goes directly from Santiago to Los Angeles.
One flight a week. Wow.
Well, there's more, but they all connect, so it becomes more than 14 hours.
And Land Cargo is based out of Chile. They started in Chile, right? They're Chilean.
Yeah, Land is a Chilean. It was actually a state-run airline. And the Land stands for Líneas Aéreas Nacionales, which was the national airline. And then it was privatized, and they grew into a really, really good company. Land used to be really good, except in cargo. Cargo was a mess.
Yeah.
At least for the flowers.
That's
Maybe
what happened
for
with
other
me.
people
I
it's
flew
good.
on a land plane once, and I was like, how is a plane that's so nice and an airline that seems to be so well run have the worst possible cargo service? I think they've improved a lot over the years, but years ago I lost a lot of money flying on land. But now I heard they're good now, No? Well, at least
I really wish you guys.
Colombia and Ecuador
I
they
haven't
are.
tried with them again for years, because they really, really we lost a lot of money with their cargo.
Is
service,
Atlas the
so.
cargo plane that comes to Chile? Is it Atlas Cargo?
Atlas? Yes.
Yeah.
Under different names. They've been kind of bought out by different companies, and who's coming now since last year is DHL, and we tried them out, and it kind of worked out nicely.
Are those are smaller planes though, the DHL?
Yeah, but as long as they get my flowers there,
Yeah,
I'm fine.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
You sometimes you see
So-
the Atlas planes on the airport here. 4 or 5 of them just lined up. They're so big. Those 747s are ginormous planes. And then once in a while, you see the Dreamlifter. Have you ever heard of that one?
No.
The Dreamlifter is
that
like
the double-decker one?
No, the Dreamlifter cargo plane is like the one who Formula One, all the race cars, they get on that plane and they fly that plane from country to country.
Because I've seen
like
one parked here at the end of the runway. It just looks like ginormous. It looks like it dwarfs all the other ones.
That's the Dreamlifter. The front of the plane opens up and a big ramp comes out, and they could drive like all kinds of heavy stuff in there. Monstrous.
Wow.
It's amazing the world we live in now.
Yeah.
Let me tell you. Aside from looking into, being able to storage peonies, what else are you looking forward to for 2023?
Well, we just finished the season, so we're kind of taking our breath now and recovering.
Gotta have an end of season
Um,
party, Mia. Gotta
yeah,
celebrate.
you're absolutely right. No, I gotta talk to my partner about that. We screwed up on that one.
At least the wine will be good.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. And there'll be plenty of it.
There you go.
Yeah. I don't know, 2023, and if you look at the general what's going on in the world, it's all up in the air for me. Um, I really, really, my general outlook is that we need to find something different to do, because there is an overpopulation and overpopulation of flowers I'm talking about, and yeah, we try to come up with something new, something different, be different from the other guys. Fix whatever quality issues we had this year, and we're aware of the things that went wrong and the things that went right, but we'll have to go over that and see how to fix that. Yeah, we do that every year basically, is see where we can improve, and what's working, what's not working, what we can do that's new. If you guys have any ideas, they're welcome. We're very open.
We're circling the wagons.
That's the goal. Protect what you have.
We're not looking for growth in 2023. We're looking to stay strong and stay where we're at, and we take the best possible care of the customers that we have right now, and see where this craziness with the recession and interest rates and all this stuff is taking us.
And the oversupply,
Yeah,
all
oversupply, yeah. It's I think it's a good strategy for 2023.
Yeah.
You don't have
Yeah.
every year doesn't have to be a slam dunker.
No, I think that's the main thing, and strangely, different farms do differently, in different years, and our North Farm did very well this year, and our main farm didn't do as well this year as last year. That doesn't mean we did, badly, but
Is any of
things
that blamed
change, and
on climate? Is any of that blamed on climate at all? Do you see an effect of climate with the peony production?
I don't know. Peonies are really, really fickle. And it's like one year they'll produce a whole bunch and you really don't know why. And then the next year they'll produce very little per plant. We had, for example, this year, we had a lot of the plants producing a lot of buds, but very small buds. And because we try to keep our quality high, and also the grading high, I think we cut a fair percentage less than we normally cut, just because the buds came in smaller.
Yeah.
We have no idea why. And peonies are that way, and I've been told by the Dutch that with peonies it kind of depends on 2 years before what happens the year you're cutting. And then you think about, this area where I live, it used to rain all the time. It used to rain in the summertime and the wintertime all the time. And for the past, I would say 8 years, the summers have been absolutely dry, drought level.
Oh, wow.
And so it means you have to water the peonies. Maybe the watering wasn't as
Yeah,
good.
that's climate.
There's so many
That's
variables,
climate
but
change.
That's
yes,
climate. Yeah. it's-
yeah, climate is affecting us, quite clearly. Yeah.
So upstate New York, this time of year should be like sub-zero temperatures. Should be below freezing. It was 50 degrees Fahrenheit last week. And
Wow.
it had a blizzard the week before.
Yeah, very
So
weird.
all that snow melted. All of it melted. And
So
just-
that water level at the lake must be nice and high
I just think the water level everywhere up there is gonna. Buffalo had like they couldn't even. No one was allowed to drive. There was so
Yeah, it
much
was
snow
so
up in
bad.
Buffalo, and then suddenly it was 50 degrees. It's just crazy.
I was talking to Jason at Rosa Flora today, and he's telling me I was like, so you going ice fishing? He's like, Fern, it's 50 degrees up here. There is no ice.
This is not normal. This is
No.
crazy.
Yeah.
It's
Crazy
good that
times.
people can save a little money on fuel oil because all that's really expensive right now. But that's, I think,
Right.
the only good thing that comes out of it. So what's next, Ryan?
You got some questions? Do we get any?
There from the emails. There's no questions. There was a comment from Greg Stabby regarding your conspiracy theories. He wanted you guys to think about the first person to walk on the moon was Neil Armstrong. Neil A. Spell that backwards. Alien.
I love you, Greg. I love you, brother.
Greg,
So
get your
I love
butt
you.
down here. I can't wait to have a conversation
So,
in this room with you.
Mia, let me ask you a question. It'd be interesting to know. Do you ever look up in the sky down there in Chile, a beautiful blue sky, and see chemtrails?
See what?
Chemtrails.
No, there's specific types of clouds that look like they're. It looks like they're being like crops in the sky. They're like lines of clouds almost that like line up.
No,
in
they're
the-
not clouds.
They're straight lines. They look
To
like
a normal
they're
person,
cloud.
they look like clouds. To a person who doesn't know what a chemtrail is, it's a cloud.
It's
Right?
like an exhaust from a plane.
It looks
and it's
like
in a
it should be
perfect
exhaust
straight
from the
line.
plane, but it never dissipates.
But it's in
Yeah.
like they're in like lines, like rows almost. Do you
Yeah.
have those there?
No, it's not a thing. At least
You,
nothing
you
that I've
I-
noticed.
I listen. Do me a favor. Next time you're outside, take a look up and see if you don't see any straight white lines going in all different directions.
I don't want to take the wind out of your sails, but there's a lot of things online disproving that theory.
I don't know.
So I mean, those could
Yeah,
be conspiracies
if-
as well.
If
you
I
know?
was the government, I'd put some fake stuff.
I learned
online
it.
to make
I
you
learned
to-
about it from my barber.
to
He was
send
telling
you
me
the wrong
about
way.
it, and then I started looking up, and I was like, "Wow, they're really there."
I mean, there's evidence why the Earth
barbers
is
are
flat,
very
right? So-
knowledgeable
The Earth
people.
is
They
not
flat.
first of
Yeah,
all,
I know the Earth is not flat. but I'm
Barbers
saying
and
there's
bartenders.
videos online of convincing you that it is, right? So
Barbers and bartenders, they know all that stuff.
They know all the good stuff.
Yeah. Well, in Chile, the whole conspiracy theory thing hasn't taken off as much as it has in the States. So
We're
I may
just
have a hard
crazy
time
here.
finding
We're just
them.
a bunch of crazy people over here.
okay, so we're gonna end it with our questions. We're just gonna end you a bunch of random fun questions. Just give us your initial responses, whatever comes to mind first. All right.
all right,
Okay. What, in your opinion, is the best sandwich?
hamburger.
What is
I
your
don't know if that
favorite-
qualifies.
Like, yeah. What is your favorite flour? See, that's a sandwich. That counts.
I
Not a
don't
not a
think so.
gyro.
So hot dog,
How
Not
can
a
a
hot
hot
dog.
gyro don't
How can a
count.
hot dog not be a sandwich?
Yeah.
I mean,
And a hamburger be a sandwich? Come on.
it's-
You have
Yes,
hot
you do.
dogs and hamburgers.
Yeah,
They
see,
go
I
hand
agree
in
with her. She's kind of right because the construction and all the ingredients are almost the exact same. It's almost nothing has changed. Where a hot dog is a
I feel
completely
like
different
this
bun,
is I feel
completely
like
different
this is a
shape.
conspiracy that you're not
Yeah,
calling
okay.
a hot dog a sandwich.
Hot dog's not. Anyway, now it's a new debate. Is a hamburger a sandwich? Is more of a better debate than is a hot dog a sandwich?
So, Cameron, you'll have to write in and let us know.
Yeah.
Okay, what is your favorite flour? If it's not peonies,
Beanie, I gotta say
Yeah.
it has to
Okay.
be.
I knew she was
Yeah.
what's one thing you own you should probably throw out?
Oh, many.
What is the
Many.
scariest animal?
Oh, I'm kind of afraid of dogs, actually.
Oh no.
Dogs, no, we love those guys.
I love my dogs, but I'm afraid of other people's
Wild
dogs.
dogs.
Are the wild dogs strays all around the farms and everything, just like
Yes.
everywhere else?
Yes, it's a big problem here. Big, huge problem.
Have you ever asked someone for their autograph?
No,
What is the most overrated flower?
the rose.
Mm.
Ooh.
What is your go-to way to relax?
Just laying out in the sun, doing sports.
You have one artist or band to listen to for the rest of your life. Who would it be? You can only listen to the one artist or band.
Ooh, I'm kind of old. Simon and Garfunkel.
Hello,
Sorry.
darkness, my old friend.
Sorry about that.
That's a great song.
Don't hit
Have you
me.
ever jammed that out on the highway? Oh,
Oh,
man,
yeah.
what a song.
What kind of flowers would you like at your funeral?
Peonies,
Not peonies, please.
roses.
Yeah.
Maybe some tulips. That would be kind of nice.
Yeah.
There you go.
You get
They
one.
grow tulips in Chile.
There you go. You get one superpower. What would it be?
One superpower. Being able to see everything from above, like a drone.
Okay, I like that. Pick one movie or TV character to have lunch with.
Angelina Jolie.
Oh, good
I'm with you on that
Yeah. Invite me to that lunch, please.
And last
I know, it's
question.
strange for a woman, but I think she's cool.
Oh yeah,
I agree.
definitely. Last question would be: do you have anybody that you would like to recommend to join us as a guest on this podcast? Anybody in the industry you could think of?
In the industry, well, I know some people. I know some people in French Dutch growers.
Oh, they could school us on the right way to pronounce the varieties.
Oh yes.
Bonjour, Zali.
Yeah.
That's the
Absolutely.
only
And
way
they
I'm
have,
going to
like-
say that from now on.
You're still not saying it right.
I know.
Well, he's this young guy and he's doing like 1 million peonies. He used to sell to my peony, and now he's trying to kind of do things on his own. Maybe still sell. There was a whole thing there. And we actually, he has, I'm sure, a very different view of flower business from the Dutch side.
You'll have to give us
or
his
French
contact so we can
Yeah,
reach out.
share.
Yeah,
We'll
thank
reach
you.
out to him.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I will, and I'll let him know.
Did you listen to any of the podcasts before you came on?
Yeah, I did.
Do you listen to
sounded like
podcasts
a-
regularly?
No. As a matter of fact, I told my son I'm on a podcast. He said, "Oh, good for you." I said,
That's awesome.
That's great. Oh, man. All right, Mia, before we go, one more question. If there was anything you could say to somebody who was aspiring to be a grower in a unique country or aspiring to blaze their own path and do things outside the normal way of operating, what would you say to that person?
study a lot. Look around, see what's going on. Yeah.
Educate
It's-
yourself.
it's where you get
power.
ideas, I mean-
Knowledge is power.
Knowledge is power. Yeah. And it's also creativity, because basically you see one thing here, you see one thing there, and at some point your brain kind of puts them together and comes up with something different. And if you're not seeing all those things, your brain doesn't have any food to churn out new things,
There you go.
So-
Food for thought.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, Mia, if anybody wanted to get in touch with you, how can they reach out to you?
Yeah, Mia Engler at patagoniasun.com. That's my email. I have a Skype, mia.engler. And our website is www.patagoniasun.com, and there's more information. My phone number's on there. Like all good Latin Americans, we're always on WhatsApp. That's our main communication
The app of
system.
choice in South America.
Yeah.
It's the app for the flower industry.
It
It's
really
for the
is.
flower
It
industry,
really
yeah.
is.
Because we're on it. Most of our group chats are through it.
Yeah, we're all on it.
Yeah.
So I just want to, before we close up, I want to just say we've been working together for quite some time. This will be our 15th year this month of being in
Quinceañera.
business. And, it's great, amazing growers and suppliers like you that help us make it what it is. And we're just very grateful. And thank you very much for your partnership and your trust all these years. I really
Yeah.
appreciate it.
And
I
I
love
gotta
working
thank
with you.
Yeah, I gotta thank you, Mike, because it's really a pleasure working with you. It's your type of partners that makes us think that it's a good industry. It's a nice industry, that things work, and
Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Thank you, Mia.
We really
Good.
appreciate it.
all right.
All right, so thank
Good
you for
going,
joining us. Great episode. Let me sign us off real quick. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this has been another awesome episode of Two Fat Guys Talking Flowers, where we're always going to give you the good, the bad, the ugly about flowers. Joel, Ryan, Mike, myself, the Fern, Mia Engler, all the way down in the beautiful country of Chile. Thank you so much for sharing with us and being on the episode today. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Mia.
you.
Have a-